your bar trivia night in a podcast. We're covering pop culture, sports, current events, and everything else in the form of trivia questions.
That is absolutely correct, Josh. Each week we hit you with 5 topics, and here's the catch: none of us know the answers ahead of time.
Not us, not our guests, not even you. So we're all in it together. We'll throw out our best guesses, debate a bit, and probably embarrass ourselves before revealing the correct answer.
And if any of us cheat, you will get abandoned by your Uber driver who will pretend like they picked you up, charge you, and leave you abandoned on the streets of Brooklyn, forced to take a city bike to the recording of your weekly podcast.
That sounds highly specific and invented by AI, but sorry to hear you had to run through that. And
Can I confess
yeah.
that I am talking about myself?
Mmm. Wow. Well,
Abandoned.
if you're gonna
Abandoned.
confess, a good person to do that with is Andrew Kippen, our guest this week. He is a hypnotherapist and coach. So he is one of those sensitive new age guys that you can really confide and really trust with your deepest, darkest secrets, and he just might be able to exercise them by having you tap into a past life or something like that. Yeah.
We will exorcise the demons out of your subconscious mind.
You are getting very healed.
You know all the answers to trivia.
Kippen, do you play trivia there, plugging in right now from Costa Rica?
I
Did
tell
you
you
in
what,
your youth?
I in my youth, I was a force to be reckoned with. I was a Quiz Bowl state.
Hmm.
I went to the championship for Quiz Bowl.
What?
And my brain is really good at collecting diverse and random knowledge. So I'm not sure how good I am going to be at pop culture and current events, but let's
Yeah.
see.
You are the first guest to cock off on being confident in your quiz
In my
skills.
my
Absolutely.
quizzing skills.
So I'm happy about that. I like that. Give me some of that confidence.
And Andrew, you're in
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
I am.
I
Yeah.
went there in 2019 for a wedding. It was wonderful.
Beautiful spot. Yeah, I'm literally in the middle of the jungle right now, just outside of Ubita.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I was going to ask where in Costa Rica. Not that I'm going to know.
We're not laying free ambient nature sounds off of
But they're
our
there.
stock music, but yeah,
They're there.
We got
that's
the real
unique
deal.
to this podcast. Did you have a go-to trivia name in your youth? Is there a Kippen's Corner?
You know, it really was always like spur of the moment. I'm trying to think. It escapes me if I had any kind of like consistent go-tos, but
Okay, well, I have one for you. I remember we got on like an acronym train, and you had a pseudonym based on me rearranging your username. And so Andrew Kippen was somehow Petter Panwink,
Petter
Petter
Pan.
Pan.
which you don't want to be called in any registry,
No.
but the Petters are coming in for Trivia Bowl this week with
our
our
team name
first
this week?
question. The Panwinks. The Panwinks
The Panwinks.
are coming in, and the first one is, breaking news ish. The Pope is dope. We got a new one. Midwest hometown hero, Pope Pius the Third, though, in 1503, had the shortest tenure as Pope, passing away after only 26 days. What did he die from? Long live Leo.
Ooh. When was he? What year?
1503.
1503.
1503.
Yeah. So did you brush up on your was that Crusades time? Maybe pre?
Maybe
I-
he
you
died
know,
in
I-
Renaissance.
My mind goes immediately to bubonic plague. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if that's quite the time period, but
Yeah, you got to get ahead of like even the Oregon Trail stuff. You need like
Mhm.
classics.
Uh,
What are you guys thinking?
What if it was just like
bubonic was,
allergies? Like they just couldn't handle shit
right?
back then.
Yeah. Let's say something like digestive, like something like stuck in his intestines, and he just like sepsis. Say sepsis.
What if also it was like an STI, like it was really just like a bad look for the papacy, and so they're like, you know what, we got to get you out of here. Like we can't have you with syphilis.
Yeah, we got to conclave you. Oh,
Yeah.
Ingrown
you know
toenail.
what? Actually, I'm gonna change my answer then. I'm gonna go with homicide.
Wow. Things getting stabby. They
Whoa.
just didn't like it. Post clave. It's French for with clave, I believe. Is
Oh,
He
this
um,
goes.
podcast is so
His last
international.
words were "et tu, Cardinals."
yeah. Go Cardinals. Go Birds.
Hey,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think Pope Leo is the first one serving up deep dish, and Malort as the holy Christ food and wine. I think I'm gonna go with like an infection. Just like he got a little boo boo and it got cut and it went bad. So the correct answer is a septic ulcer in his leg.
oh, I should have
Oh,
stuck with that first one, the first guess.
yeah. How you went straight to sepsis? I'm really impressed.
Wow. Wow. You should get an honorable
Alain,
mention just
Because
for like throwing that out there.
it's such a
yeah.
cushy lifestyle, I imagine, even back then. And I imagine he just like ate whatever he wanted. A lot of like rich, sweet meats and pop.
Mm.
I feel like are you Catholic, Alain? Like, did you just connect right in?
I was raised Catholic, and like many of us who were raised Catholic, I am no longer Catholic.
Ah,
Mhm.
okay.
But you retain
Same.
a lot of the trauma and some of that trivia information.
The guilt, the trauma, the it's all my fault. What have I done? Yeah, I do still have all of that.
Mhm.
Josh, I had one other thing that I think what you just shared might be a revolution. You know, Pope Francis really took us forward environmentally and socially with some of those issues. But
Mhm.
what if Pope Leo was like, hey, the sacrament is now deep dish and we're having Mountain Dew instead of red wine?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like could really up the game on getting people into church again.
A
Yeah,
real code red in the conclave. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
yeah. It's not the blood of Christ anymore. It's just like the pure energy of the Christ.
The energy of Christ, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah. Just Al's Italian hot beef is the way.
The Vatican,
Portillo's
sponsored
choice.
by Portillo's. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like that'll be the variants. It'll be like Episcopal, it'll be Mormons, and they'll all just have their like Chicago,
Mm.
dog with pickles or whatever is their official
Were you
food.
excited when you heard that the new pope was American? I didn't really have a reaction.
I I think it's funny just to think about the fact that this dude went to the White Sox games. This dude, like, like a
Yeah,
lot of pastors or anyone else, they're mostly regular people and have regular interests and just happen to be really dialed up on the faith. So, yeah, this guy has to be devoutly Chicago, which is exciting.
yeah. I haven't listened to him speak yet. Does he have like? Is it just like, man, this guy's from Chicago?
Ah, Christ. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
uh,
I guess because I didn't know that he was the first. Like, I didn't know that we hadn't had an American pope, or maybe just never thought about it until they
mhm.
announced it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Well, you got to think we probably, even in the like entirety of our nation, probably there's only been a dozen popes, right? Like we're young as a country,
Right.
and for us to even get the World Cup this many times is crazy. So for us to get the Pope,
And popes be living. Popes, I feel like they have long tenures.
yeah, and then whatever the conclave FIFA kind of like internal thing, they probably didn't want such a young, like angsty country to get the Pope,
You know,
and
let you say
yeah.
that that was my reaction. I was like, I was hoping that this would last longer. Like, I thought it was going to be a couple weeks of conclave. Everyone was really
Mm.
enjoying it. There were a lot of good jokes. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah, there was maybe an Asian Pope. That would have been crazy. I think that would be like the wildest AAPI month, like honoring ever.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know how I feel about it though. I think you pair too much of the Vatican with like regular just Asian guilt and Tiger Mom and
Is Asian guilt a thing?
i- let's just say that like the Jewish guilt and the Asian guilt don't like they sing a similar chord. It's why I feel compelled to make this podcast every week because I cannot bring shame upon my ancestors,
I'm sure your ancestors
my
were
podcast
very proud of
ancestors.
your podcast.
Oh yeah, they tune in
Quincy
every week.
Podcastius the Fifth of 1503 as well
Mm.
was part of the family. All right, moving on to awards season. I don't know if this is really awards season, but we do have the Golden Globes, which announced that they're introducing a new category for the 2026 awards: Best Podcast
That is right.
Relevant.
Oh,
So here's a fun one. What is the most listened to podcast genre in the US? And spoiler, it's not quiz-based bar trivia podcasts
yet,
yet.
Not yet.
yet.
Genre.
Jean.
Is it possible? See, like I'm trying to go through my mind of like what I know that everybody listens to, but this is one of those things where like, the most watched TV shows on network TV are not the shows that you're like, that everyone like White Lotus is
That are
not
the
the most
best.
watched show in in America. It's like
Duck
probably
Dynasty
Chicago
style.
Fire. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Well,
Mass market appeal is what we're
I-
looking for.
Exactly.
I think the podcast is actually pretty more straightforward, right? For all the thousands of people that are starting another freaking podcast, I mean, like, those people must be like the bane of the earth. But
You said we were special.
that said, it's really coalesces around a couple hundred. So I don't think talk is the fair genre. Maybe it's murder pod,
I was gonna say maybe like true crime.
true crime, or news, like generically.
You
I'm curious. I think I remember reading recently that somebody had surpassed Joe Rogan, and was it a relative of the football player who's dating Taylor Swift?
Oh,
Did you
Travis
guys hear
Kelsey's
that?
brother.
Yeah, his sister, actually.
What?
Yeah, maybe I'm way off, but
It could
I
be the
feel like-
Kelseys. They got a huge payday.
yeah,
They're fun. They're entertaining. They know some sport.
they do sport.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like true crime as a guess. Or I don't know if you like celebrity hosted is a category.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like it's just cult of personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Dax Shepard's podcast is really
Sure.
huge. Him and Kristen Bell.
Well, would you consider that comedy, or would you consider that talk? What like
I don't even
true
know.
crime?
I don't even know what they're.
True-
I would just say I think the top one is hosted by like some celebrity, and the genre is less important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the correct answer is comedy.
Sure.
True crime is the most likely genre to appear in the top 200, apparently.
Mm.
But comedy is the most listened to podcast genre right now, which is interesting to say. But like, yeah, even Coco, who I adore, his is not on the breaching the top 10. So I don't know how this was. I don't know, Quizliz. I don't know how you like game this out, but I'm assuming.
She didn't like put like who or what it is, like what the most.
I don't get her footnotes. I just like make sure it's not something that we can immediately Google or know off the gate. So
And just to Andrew, and for the audience at home, the massive audience at home, Josh does a lot of work in not just like essentially like producing this podcast, getting it out there, but you're the one that's like putting it on these networks. Do you have to like tag it with a genre, like
Oh.
comedy, informational when you're uploading it?
that's true. I'm doing everything.
Okay.
It is a podcast as a vertical, and it is a comedy podcast. Plain and simple. If you drill down differently, it's like entertainment. Yeah. So comedy.
I guess
that-
I'm just asking what
Catch
are
all.
we?
What are we? We are a proxy for folks like Kippen to live vicariously through the old trivia nights they had before they decided to move to foreign countries and have child.
Truth. Yeah, there's no pub trivia night here. Not that
Mhm.
I've found. But if one of your listeners happens to know a good trivia night in the San Jose, Costa Rica area,
Mm.
please message me.
Casita trivia night. Let's do
Link in
it.
bio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there, there,
exactly.
there are good bars in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
There
Um,
are.
let me tell you, I don't know how much of a pirate you are out there in Central America, but um, have you been watching Andor
Of
and
course.
or any other shows? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you will know then that the season finale is fast approaching. And so our next question is, on what planet was the protagonist Cassian Andor born?
You know what's really
Hmm.
funny about this question? I I really liked Rogue One,
Yeah.
and when I saw it, didn't think much about it afterwards. Didn't go back and watch it. Heard that this show was coming out. Knew that it was, kind of essentially a prequel to Rogue One, and up until I want to say like half an hour or 20 minutes into watching the first episode, did I realize that Andor was his name. I assumed it was a planet.
uh, Alderaan and Andor. And
Yeah,
Endor.
or
Mm.
Endor.
Endor. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
indoor outdoor plumbing.
well, while you guys pontificate on the galaxy worth of planets, uh, I feel like my thing with Andor is some of the literal best episodes of television ever are from that first season. And like that No Way Out episode
Oh
is
my god.
so legendary, contained. You got Andy Serkis, of course, but um, I think I appreciate this show more because I was passively like all the other Disney Plus shows, just like on my phone watching the first couple episodes, and then by episode four, I'm like looking up a little more, like, oh, what,
Yeah.
oh, and then I'm just like gripped. Just give me this show to my veins.
Yeah.
However, I do not know what to think of this season because regardless of knowing what happens before this show, what happens after this show, and that it has to end, I still have no clue what's happening with half of these subplots. I have no reason why I'm like, why am I supposed to care? And we only see Andor like for like 10% of the thing, and he's just kind of like always mad about getting put on BS missions.
Missions.
Just
Yeah.
like yeah, the entire first couple episodes, it's like it seemed like an errand that he didn't get to do anything with, other than the fun opening like stealing episode.
Yeah, and then he gets like laywayed in like an interesting situation. I'm a few episodes behind, but like I feel like that's what the show is. Like he gets stuck somewhere. That's kind of what the prison situation was. Like it was such a bullshit charge,
Yeah.
and then it gave us this incredible arc that's like some of the best Star Wars and
Yeah.
best TV that we've seen in years. Um,
I cried. I cried on that
you
episode
cried. Yeah.
at the prison, and
Yeah.
everybody like just wow.
I get that you can't be too consequential with this show because otherwise it doesn't make sense with everything else happening. But it's weird that like the enemies are middle management. He is like entry level. It's
Yeah.
like you want to see the ground game and you got to appreciate that they've made something really powerful out of it. But what is happening and why are we at these parties with this one crazy EDM track that's playing
That
across the
song was a
universe?
banger though. I would plan to listen to that song again.
Yeah. No, that's at every bar mitzvah from now on. Like,
Or was it
yeah.
like a? I guess it was a wedding, right? The daughter, the kind of like
Yeah, it
political.
was arranged wedding,
Mhm.
and Mon Moth got just hammered or just really let go on the
Yeah.
dance floor.
Let
and,
loose. Yeah.
Well, she was
losing
like,
it, losing it.
that guy's got to go, so I'm gonna dance the night away.
Mm-hmm.
How did
All
you?
right. Well,
Andrew, this is what
Oh,
we
any
do
guesses
when
on
we
this
don't
planet?
know we don't know the answer. We stall. Um,
uh, I'm, I'm, I think the answer is Ferrix because
That's a pretty good guess. That's
in
not. I
this
was like, yeah.
in this season, him and the other guy who he's kind of like buddy with, who he's searching for in the plaza. They both go, remember Ferrex.
This is good.
So-
I'm glad that you're here, Andrew, because I don't.
That's a really good pull. Because I was like, like thinking Yavin 4. Like, there's like I only know planets from like the original trilogy as far as like naming stuff, and I know he
Also-
didn't show up in Tatooine.
Who wants to live on Endor? I do. Like Return
yeah.
of the Jedi, Ewok
Sure.
land? Like,
Yeah.
sign me up.
Oh,
You know, I was
Yeah.
saying to a friend the other day, I feel maybe they'll do this at some point, or they have done it. Wouldn't it be so sinister in like a Star Wars story that like a villain that just denies that Alderaan ever existed? Like when they talk about it, they'll just be like, "Ugh, that planet's a myth. That never existed.
Gulf of Mexico? No, never happened.
You're denied from the space."
Jimmy Smits. Never heard of him. What's a Jimmy Smit? Nope. Yeah, no Alderaan. Well, the answer is Canary.
Oh,
It's a mining planet, but Kippen, I gotta give you 0.75 points because Andor grew up on an industrial planet known as Ferrex. It's like when I say I'm from Oklahoma, but I was born in California. Like, what are you doing? Am I an anchor baby of California, or is it where you grew up?
Is that true?
What?
That you were born in California?
I was born in San Mateo, Mills Hospital, same as Tom Brady, so he's also destined for greatness. And then, moved around all around the Midwest, and then eventually high school in Oklahoma, college in Wisconsin. That's why that's my, I've seen this great nation, kind of.
hopefully Tom can live up to the mold that you've set for him.
I think so. I hope that roast was humbling, and he's, learned he's still got a lot to push for. He can really make something of himself in this, second chapter of his life.
He was
Yeah, a bit of a
upset
one-trick
about
pony.
jokes.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of Uggs he can design now. We're moving on to,
He has amazing podcast presence, though.
yeah. I don't really like him in the booth, but it is what it is. Dogs, guys. Dogs are
Dogs.
commonly believed to be colorblind and only see black and white, but none of them have really told us and verified. But there are actually two colors that dogs can see. What are these colors?
Two colors.
I have a guess.
Goldenrod, fuchsia.
My guesses are green and red.
Oh, that would be good
I
for
don't
the
know this.
colorblind. Yeah, they just see Christmas all the time. That's why they're so happy. That's why they're all just.
Did you watch? Here's my thought process, which doesn't make any sense. Did you watch the first season of Fargo?
Oh, sure, no. Yeah, no.
No. Take us there.
Okay, so Billy Bob Thornton has this monologue about how the most shades, the color that humans can see the most shades of is green. I'm gonna butcher this monologue, the point of it, because evolutionarily we needed it to like see and spot predators like in a place like behind Andrew. So we're really able to like look into like green and see all the different types of green. So I'm thinking for a dog, be good for any
Science.
kind of animal to be able to see lots of shades of green. And then I have a color blind friend who I think he confuses green and red a lot. That's his thing. He can't really like tell them apart. So that is how I've arrived at this. I've pulled from my friend and a TV show that I watched 10 years ago and have given you my bullshit answer.
You pulled from a man's best friend and a man's best friend, and you found that.
And I was his best man.
Oh.
Ooh. A lot of best.
Well, I gotta tell you, the correct answer is St. Louis Blues colors. It's blue and yellow. And they can't see green. It just looks like a muted yellow, apparently.
Wait, you're being serious? The answer was blue and yellow?
Yeah.
That's annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wiz Khalifa almost got it. Like, so close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The answer is staring me in the
No,
face.
this is where we start playing Gloria. If we could afford the musical round.
The rights.
We
Yeah.
were 1.6 seconds away last week. We
From?
lost from going on to the
Oh,
next round.
sorry, I was thinking the music, but yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
your blues. Okay, gotcha.
1.6
Um,
seconds.
Yeah, we were up 3-2.
the Winnipeg game. Yeah,
They
yeah,
tied
yeah.
it up with there was 1.6 seconds left on the clock, and they beat us in double overtime.
Oh,
It was rough.
man.
Or awesome if you're a Winnipeg fan. So sorry.
Fuck them. And we're coming to get you any day now.
Josh, playing to the Canadian audience now. Huh?
Oh yeah. Our 51st through 59th states. Let's do it.
Mhm.
Guys, it's time for shots round.
Oh yeah.
Bang bang. This is like a real trivia night. This is your chance to shout out the answer in the comments. This is for the listeners, and if you're right, you just might win something special.
So Andrew, we don't actually get to guess
Yep,
in this
participate.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can participate a little bit, but I'm saying that I just want this to be the participation opportunity where I don't want people cheating, because this week's winner will win a year's supply of Spread the Love peanut butter, or different nut butter if they're allergic. But that is some nice, organic, delicious, small business nut butter from my dear friends Zach and Val. And I don't know what a year's worth of peanut butter is. It's a good grip of it, and you can make a lot of smoothies, a lot of PB and J with that.
That's what you call a handful of peanut butter grip.
Yeah, you're allowed however much you can take
Yeah,
out of one jar is what you get for getting this question right.
Here I am with the grip of peanut butter.
Yeah,
Josh, you know what I'm about to say? Yeah, there you go.
No, I don't want to know about that. But I do feel like when I start talking about it, I get in my Southern drawl instead of my Midwest. I don't know about that grip of peanut butter. But it's also because I'm going to answer last week's question, which was how many mint juleps are served at the Kentucky Derby each year? And it was, Kippen, you want to throw out a stab?
Oh, geez. 60,000.
125,000.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I had two clients go to the Derby this year, and one of
Nice.
them was just like, it's just like a big debaucherous party.
Sure. And all for a minute, apparently. It's just like it's a whole lot of hullabaloo. But maybe that's like New Year's Eve, right? You just wait for the ball to drop, and then that's the thing, and
That's
it's
fair.
all prelude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week's question is: what is the world record for most dogs walked simultaneously by an individual? I like it. It's a great question. So you will not answer this.
I wonder if there's a distinction that they make for like by hand versus, like the waist, because I've seen that in New York. People walk dogs and they're all just like attached to a belt.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe maybe somebody's gotten industrious and made like a whole harness for the human who's walking all of the harnessed dogs.
Yeah.
Doc Ock. Like 20-foot arm.
You got like weird little like yo-yo kind of like extensions on each finger to like increase. Yeah.
That's
Well,
what you should do instead of pestering Spider-Man.
yes. Or anyone, chasing Scooby-Doo and those meddling kids. Okay, so we got a current events question. We like to throw these in after the shots round, and it is about DJT wanting to reopen The Rock and expand Alcatraz as a symbol of law and order in the U.S. Maybe the tourism revenue was low, so we might as well use the thing. So,
Have you
question. Oh, of course. I had to. I mean, favorite 90s action movie, so
Movie.
quotable.
Fucking love that.
Banger of a soundtrack. Bum, 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 bum. And then, like, what are these green? Like, it's so imaginative to have, like, little
Oh, the
green,
VX
little
gas?
jelly, delicious VX gas.
Oh yeah.
And little string pearls, and,
Getting string of pearls. Can
yes. So, the most 90s film, top 5 action movie. We'll watch it through the commercials, even if I own it, over and over on TV. Um, Question: why was the prison officially closed after 29 years of operation?
The answer has scared Andrew away, but
Mm,
well, he's gone.
Too many outbreaks?
we sent him to the Rock.
I mean, that was the thing. Like, people would die when they tried to swim away. I
Mm-hmm.
guess the waves would like crash them back against the rocks. I'm just gonna say funding. It was too expensive. It's too expensive to run a prison that you had to like ferry people back and forth
Okay. So you think just like day-to-day operations, they're like, we made this like for super villains to be stored on a moat. And guess what? This is more complicated than just putting it out in the Central Valley. Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
Hmm.
from.
Andrew, what are
Why
you
did they
thinking?
lose anything in this
Um,
view?
What kind of
I think
infrastructure?
I think maybe there was a sepsis ulcer outbreak and they had to
Mm.
shut the whole thing down. You know, just somebody got
Yeah.
infected, and it was just like, ah, we gotta get everybody out of here.
Someone didn't wash their ulcer before mealtime and it just spread to everybody.
Well,
I
that guy
think
was working in the kitchen,
I
so
Yeah.
think it's noise and light pollution complaints from the smug folks of Marin County. It's just yeah, just an eyesore thinking about those sad people out there. Um, the correct answer, dude, you done one. High costs.
High
Yeah,
cost. Yeah.
that makes sense. 29 years, not really a good bang for your buck, but it's because the salt water quickly eroded the infrastructure, and then the shipping supplies to the island was so expensive. So it was like 3 times more expensive to keep people there than other federal prisons at the time.
well,
You
yeah,
know,
Musk would have been all over that.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we just bring a light rail directly there. The first bit of actual like public transportation, so we can ship our bad guys.
It's just like it. You know, it's gonna turn into an inhumane situation pretty fast. I think maybe that's what he wants. Um, but like, we look no further than Rikers Island here, which is just a jail.
Hmm.
Which I didn't know until I moved here. Like, the reputation that it has, I just assumed it was a prison for super criminals, and it's just a jail where the worst, like the worst of the worst things that happen to people happen there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's
I just bummed
particularly
Josh out with that.
no. I mean, like you want to get into anti-recidivism programs. You want to talk about like I don't know, just how many like small possession charges are keeping people at Rikers. It's like the idea of sending people to a place where Mysterio and the Abomination are supposed to be hanging out, like because I don't know. I was on the wrong side of buying a dime bag before they started selling bespoke iPhones, like Apple stores of weed that exist now.
Yeah.
Um,
Remember the night of
yeah.
on HBO? Did we watch that?
No, which one was that?
Where
Mm-mm.
the kid who's a, I think he like takes his dad's taxi and has like a wild night with like a pixie manic dream girl, wakes up
Hmm.
with her dad in her apartment, and then the whole
Hmm.
thing is John Turturro, I think, is his lawyer. Does this
Hmm.
not sound familiar to anybody?
Oh, I do remember. Yeah, this wasn't a rom com. This wasn't a
This is
fun
a
one,
mini
so I
series.
don't.
No, it was comedy. It was
Uh,
a comedic miniseries on HBO.
okay, okay.
A comedic miniseries.
Yeah.
Pretty murdery. Yeah, didn't see that one.
She's dead. He's stuck in the prison system. How will they come together in the end?
Yeah, classic.
Yeah,
They will
classic
say.
log line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, that was the queries. However, we like to have a little rapid fire round just for our guests. We have specific bespoke queries for the hypnotist.
Did you know about this, Andrew?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna try and run
Nominated.
through these pretty quick because there's no way that we know these, but maybe you do, and maybe you're not a real hypnotist if you don't know these answers. Oh shit. So
Oh.
uh, actually, can you give us a little spiel? Like, what does this actually look like? Because I feel like there's more novelty to your craft.
Oh. Yeah. So I used hypnotherapy to essentially get rid of symptoms of depression and burnout in
Mm.
2 sessions. And later that next week, I was fired. And the week after that, I was in hypnotherapy training. And I messaged my hypnotherapist and I was just like, this is the most amazing transformation I've ever had.
Hmm.
How on earth did you do this? And the best way that I have come up to describe it is, so first, it suffers from about 300 years of bad PR. We've all
Since the
gone
Pope got by that ulcer, yeah,
by that ulcer. Yep.
Hypnotic ulcer.
So many people just see hypnosis and they think of it as mind control, and they've seen what in the industry we call stage hypnosis. So it's for entertainment, and it's you go up on stage and you pass out, and then you bark like a dog or dance like a chicken, dance like a stripper, and people go, "Oh my gosh, I don't want somebody else to control my mind." And in truth, what's happening is the person has just become suggestible to things that are um, that they know happen on stage. So the hypnosis starts right when they buy the ticket, and they know if they go up on stage what they're supposed to do. And
Mm.
so that's very different than what I do, which is we're on the same team, and I work with people, and they share a little bit about what's going on with them. And I say, we're really using 3 principles of your brain. So one is that your brain goes from specific to general. So we have an experience of something and our brain goes, okay, great. In the future, I know that's what's supposed to happen. The second is that there are parts of our brain that can't tell the difference between what's imagined and what's real. It's why watching movies and reading books is so engaging, is because part of us thinks we're the main character. Part of us thinks we're there and we respond. When they want us to cry, we cry. When they want us to jump, we jump. So there are parts of our brain that can't tell the difference. And the last piece is that you can rewire your neural pathways over time. So we can teach an old dog new tricks using what we refer to as neuroplasticity. So putting all that together, I'm using your imagination to create specific experiences that your brain can then generalize from. And then above and beyond that, we are rewiring old pathways that might already be there and giving you new resources and new ways of being, new blueprints for life. It's awesome. I love it.
That's
That is
very cool.
really interesting. It wouldn't work on me, however, because I paid to have my subconscious militarized. So you'd
Fantastic.
be in for quite a fight if you tried any of that on me.
That's
Did you
the
hire the
whole
same guy from
Inception.
Inception?
Yeah. But it does sound like the stage hypnosis is like, a sober, doing 20 shots and then being dared to do stuff. And
Yeah.
then the private version is like, no, we're both doing 20 shots and we're both going to dare each other to go on this journey together.
Josh,
And
you're
there's
thinking of
a
hypnotic.
deepening. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't use blue juice?
it's
Okay.
completely different.
Well, all right, let's hit you with some of these. True or false? Everyone is equally susceptible to being hypnotized.
That is false. There's about 75% of people who are of average 70% who are average suggestibility, and 15% who are difficult, and 15% who are really easy to suggest things to.
Interesting.
Huh. Who, outside of your buddy, is credited with discovering hypnotism?
Ooh, discovering. I think the first guy was named Anton Mesmer,
As
and
to mesmerize?
mesmerize and mesmerism was the
Hmm.
initial. There may have been 1 or 2 guys before that, but he was definitely a big character in I want to say the 1800s, 1700s.
I want to know the
Wow.
answer to this.
That is Mr. Mesmer. That is Franz Mesmer. You
Franz
might
Mesmer.
you might be more familiar with his like son or something, Anton. But yes,
And
you get the point for knowing Mesmer.
yes.
And then our last question, a little harder. A hospital in Belgium is using hypnosis rather than anesthesia during what type of surgery?
Oh,
Hmm.
well, typically you would use hypnosis when the subject is allergic to anesthetic. So it's an alternative. Um, what kind of procedure would you want to do it with? Um,
In Belgium,
in Belgium,
land of chocolate and waffle and delightful beer.
Can I
and
throw out a wild guess?
fries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can.
help me out.
Laser eye surgery.
Hmm. I like that guess.
Um, yeah, I like that guess too. It's also used in dentistry quite a bit as well. Um,
I didn't know any of this.
I'm gonna go big time. How about heart surgery?
Wow. You are actually surprisingly close. It is breast
Brain?
cancer removal.
Ooh,
I don't
that
know how it works if they're like hypnotizing them to do it themselves and just, but like why that's the solution. But yeah.
I, this is a
impressive.
subject that I have not spent any time thinking about at all.
Hmm.
Hypnosis. I don't know how else to say this, that I wasn't entirely sure it was real before this conversation, which maybe is like a common thing that you run into.
Yeah.
Like I think I've seen it my senior year, like the night after our graduation. You know, they'll like throw like the big party for the seniors so that they don't go out and drink. And I remember there was a hypnosis there, and I think that's the only time I was in the room for that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what did you make of that?
I mean,
What did you think about it?
I was
Or were you still
18.
wasted?
No, I was 18. I think I saw my classmates like, do silly things on stage, and I was like, that's not real. But like that's like the most time I've probably ever spent thinking about it outside of the things that we all know from just fiction of like a
Or
pendulum like
watching Get Out?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I only know it from breast cancer removal talk on my socials. But
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, I think it's much bigger in the UK for some reason, and I think it's regulated there. So there in the US, it's not regulated, and so it tends to get marginalized because for some things it can be really quick, and the powers that be don't really want you to have quick remedies. They want you to come and see them every week for 6 months or a year.
Mm, yeah.
So there's a little bit of that's a broad generalization,
Sure.
but it's taught in Harvard Medical School. It's taught in the Mayo Clinic and used in all these different medical situations. And once you
Wow.
start to get into it and you research it, you start to realize like, oh, there's a lot of places where this is actually really useful. Yeah. So
Wow. Well,
a lot
you've
of I'm
really hypnotized
Yeah.
us. I mean, this is a whole different lane for trivial, I gotta say. But
Honestly, like I know we don't have the time, but I have so many
yeah.
questions and like things I would love to ask, but
Well, that's the show. So Kippen, tell us where folks who are listening could find you and potentially try out these
in your
services.
dreams. Sorry.
you
He's
can
not a
find me.
vampire.
I know this is the dumb attitude I'm sure he comes up against all the time.
It's funny is basically I say like half the room leans forward and they go hypnosis, tell me more, and then half the room leans back and go get the fuck away from me, like don't mess
Hmm.
with my mind.
Hmm.
So if you're one of the people who
Voodoo
is
witch.
curious, you can find out more at subconsciousway.com, and you can find me on Instagram under academic ACADEMIK,
But I
and then
think
you'll
some of you
see
already knew that.
for those who need help.
Terrific.
Just
Well,
come and I do real quick. I do a
yeah.
free discovery call. So if you
Oh,
just want to talk to me and chat about what's going on with you and see if I'm a good fit, you could do that for free, no risk.
free discovery call with Peter Panwink. Undeniably worth your time. Thanks so much, Andrew, for joining. That's the
Seriously.
show. Come on,
Thank you,
come on
Andrew.
through.
My pleasure. How do we do? Do we score the Panwinks at the end?
Yeah,
Well, that was a pretty good showing. Yeah, as far as like
Okay.
getting into the final bracket, I think we might invite you back for the semis, the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season.
I want the board like on Top Gear. Like, how fast did you do the lap?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what was your trivia score?
Yeah. I think you're top of the leaderboard right now in terms
Wow.
of your personal questions and us collectively getting more than 0.
Yeah,
Great.
you should come to New York and actually
Great.
do trivia with us sometime.
Yeah.
When I'm back, let's go. Let's do it. We can be
Panwinks.
the Panwinks. Yeah,
Unite.
Panwinks forever.
All right, team.
Thanks, guys.
Panwinks never say
Thank
die.
you. Andrew,